Play it with Xbox Game Pass.
Hello and welcome to the Microsoft News Dispatcher for the date of October the 10th, 2019. In today's episode, we'll be looking at the latest and greatest updates from Microsoft on their new and upcoming simulator. As well as that, we'll be looking at a comparable version to Microsoft Flight Simulator with a preview of what it could look like. Starting with the home page. So we've had a great update. We've had a few updates, in fact, to the Microsoft Flight Simulator. I do like the fact that Microsoft, the team, the developers that we've seen, there are a bunch of jolly boys, who know how to have fun and always start with a joke on a lot of their updates. This one, delivering the deliverables we said would be delivered during the delivery of updates. I think it's nice to see a group of developers who have fun and passion for what they're doing and who actually care about the community and what they want and think, which is one of the updates. They've announced that there's going to be a feedback pipeline, a feedback dashboard that will be regularly updated with feedback snapshots that you personally will be able to update yourself and give them your thoughts and what you want to see in the flight sim. They have already had an incredible amount of feedback from the press coverage from a few weeks back where they had the global preview event. And people have said they want to see features like ATC, seasons, VR, helicopters, much more. So they are ensuring that the voice of the community is being heard and put into action through the feedback dashboard, which I think is an amazing effort on Microsoft's part to show that they really care about the community and that they want to deliver what that community wants, rather than saying, here's what you're getting, deal with it. This is a massive, and this is a first step as well for Microsoft, as far as we're aware. No other simulator in the history has been created this way, so we're on the verge of some exciting times. Speaking of an exciting, the tech alpha is upon us. By the end of this month, there will be a lucky few people who will actually be able to, in the comfort of their own home, play and utilize the Microsoft Flight Simulator and the Tech Alpha version. Recruitment on the 15th will end, so if you haven't already gotten into the Insider Home group, go and sign up. You can sign up through the Insider FAQ, and you'll have access to the Insider Home, which has a load more updates. It actually has a video that you can watch, where one of the developers takes you through that episode 1 of the world, and you can actually see unseen footage as well. So if you haven't already signed up, go sign up. And they've stated as well that between the 17th and the 24th, you will receive an email if you've been chosen to be a Tech Alpha Insider, and you will get a build on the 24th of October. You actually receive a version of Microsoft Flight Simulator to use and try out, which then you will be asked to deliver feedback and your comments on the Tech Alpha. Now, don't be disheartened if you don't receive this Tech Alpha, because at the end of October they're having another recruitment for Tech Alpha 2. Don't forget, Microsoft Flight Simulator are always updating and adding new features. It's an ongoing process at the moment as it's in the alpha stage. Now, when we get to the beta stage, that's where it's more finalized, locked down, less likely to have a lot of changes to it, but there will be still changes, but they will be less frequent than when it's in the alpha stage. And of course, when it comes out of beta, that means it's ready to go to the public. So I can imagine that it's going to be in alpha till at least spring of next year, and then it will be in beta for the summer, and then we will get it sort of autumn time for next year. But who knows? There has been no final date told to us from Microsoft. So basically they are targeting, though, a mid to end November for the second build this year. So by the end of this month they will start the recruitment process for Tech Alpha 2, and then by the mid to end of November that second release will get delivered out to people, and it will be different to Tech Alpha 1. There will be more features most likely in it. If you haven't already, again, signed up, you can sign up for the recruitment of the Tech Alpha. You have until the 15th. You need to head inside the Insider sign up group. There is a link in the Insider home just underneath the first episode of the Discovery series, and you can sign up to be a Tech Alpha recruiter, insider, whatever you want to call it. Next week we're going to get a Development Road update, and there will be episode 2, of course. So a lot more stuff coming this October. It's looking very exciting. Like I said, let's now head into what this all means. The developer inside the first episode really details what to expect of how the world is built and how it's going to be delivered to you, in terms of you can use one of them 3 presets of online, offline, or a hybrid mode. But what is it? How does it all actually work? Well, I'm going to put it into a visualization now that I think everyone's going to be able to understand. This is basically Google Earth. Okay, now Google Earth give out satellite data and have actually placed in very crude, rudimentary 3D objects. If you go into Google Earth right now, you can do exactly what you see here. We're at the Renton facility in Washington, which is in the Seattle area, at the Redmond area, city, whatever you want to call it. Redmond area of Seattle City, sorry, within the Washington state of America. So this is that facility where everybody got invited to, and they had that preview event. I believe it's just this building here, and there were planes lined up here, a load of Cessnas, where they actually took off, and they took each and every one of the socialites up into the air to view the full area, and they had a quick flight around this little island here, and then they came back in and they landed, and then they went into the simulator and did exactly the same, and they got to compare the two. Now, how are they delivering it to us? Well, this is Google Earth. Now, the way Google Earth gives us the data is you can see every single street, you can see where the forests are, you can see where the lakes are, you can see where the airports are, and the basic road structures. You can basically see the basic details of planet Earth. But if we zoom into a little bit more closer to the roads, the details start to fill in automatically. You see that? We've got houses now, we got a car, we got the road markings, there's a pool there in that person's house, and more details fill in the closer you get. So as we come down now, we can actually see there's a car there, zoom in, and we got bushes now in front of this house, and this is where the grass is for that house. More details the closer you zoom in, and of course when we zoom out, now this is beginning to look like a simulator. Basically all these 3D objects, Google have their own sort of Azure eye that is filling in the details for the houses, the 3D geometry of the trees, and all the minute details. That's all being handled by Google's own sort of version of Azure eye. So to give you an idea, if we head over to this park, this is a national wildlife park. As we zoom in, look, it's just a green blob of Google data. But as we go into it, effectively what would happen is Azure eye would take over and begin to fill in the trees of what we see now. So we can now see individual trees. I'll zoom out a little bit. See all these individual trees that have just now been placed? That's basically what Azure eye will be doing. It'll be taking the Bing map data, and then as you're flying, it will fill in the blanks on the fly. Okay, it will fill in the blanks for the 3D geometry of the houses, of a lot of the buildings, of the main buildings. So over here we've got offices, looks like some sort of retail park here, and that is getting filled in as we get in closer. And this is exactly how it's going to be delivered to us. We could even just about read the signs on these buildings. So I mean, this is very close to what the simulator, although it will be a 4K, much enhanced version of what the simulator will look like. Now, of course, there is no detail really in the lakes here. That again is getting filled in with the Azure Eye to add more detail, but this is basically the concept for Microsoft Flight Simulator, which I think is great because we really get an accurate, hardcore view of the world rather than a CGI interpreted one, which we've had so far. We've had, hand-built buildings, hand-built trees, all placed by the hand or by computer, in this 3D space. Whereas now we're actually getting the accurate world. We're getting the actual objects being placed in the world, which is a massive deal, I think. A really big deal. So that's basically it for this week's episode. So if there's anything you feel I overlooked in today's episode, or if there is a topic you would like for us to discuss next week, please leave your comments below for me to consider, and I will consider it for next week's show. But where in the world would you like to see depicted, and where would you like to fly in the world? For me, one area of the Earth that I'm really interested in the Microsoft Flight Simulator is Antarctica, is exploring these areas of Antarctica where maybe the data, or where people, for the objects, haven't really, there is no data really apart from what we see in Google Earth. I'll be really interested to fly over areas like this in the Microsoft Sim, to see how Azure Eye is handling the geometry of everything. I mean, we're talking just about mountains really, but don't forget there are actual stations out here. There is human settlements, and how Azure Eye will handle that data is something that I'm really interested in myself, exploring Antarctica by airplane. That's something that really I'm going to enjoy myself. Next week we will check out episode 2 and talk about what was delivered in that episode. Thanks for watching. Be cracking the earth here all my life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in next week's episode. Bye.